Chapter 14 of the Defiant Agents. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by R.J. Davis. The Defiant Agents by Andre Norton. Chapter 14. Travis's back was braced against blanketed packs as they studied a piece of light yellow bark against one bent knee, scowling at the lines drawing on it in faint green. "We are here then, and the ship is there." His thumb was set on one point of the crude map, forefinger on the other. Buck nodded. "That is so. Tsoay, Esquita, Kawakle, they watch the trails. There is the pass, two other ways men can come on foot. But who can watch the air? The Tatars say the Reds dare not bring the chopper into the mountains. After they first landed, they lost a flyer in a tricky air current flow up there. They have only one left and won't risk it. If only they aren't reinforced before we can move." There it was again, that constant gnawing fear of time. Time shortening into a rope to strangle them all. "You think that the knowledge of our ship will bring them into the open?" That, or information about the towers, would be the only things important enough to pull out their experts. They could send a controlled Tatar party to explore the ship, sure, but that wouldn't give them the technical reports they need. No, I think if they knew a wrecked Western Confederation ship was here, it would bring them, or enough of them to lessen the odds. We have to catch them in the open. Otherwise, they can hole up forever in that ship fort of theirs. "And just how do we let them know our ship is here? Send out another scouting party and let them be trailed back?" "That's our last resource." Travis continued to frown at the map. Yes, it would be possible to let the Reds sight and trail an Apache party, but there was none in the clan who were expendable. Surely there was some other way of lying the trap, with the wrecked ship for bait. Capture one of the Reds, let him escape again, having seen what they wanted him to see. Again, a time-wasting business. And how long would they have to wait, and what risk would they take to pick up a Red prisoner? If the Tatars were dependable, Buck was thinking aloud. But that if was far too big. They could not trust the Tatars, no matter how much the Mongols wanted to aid in pulling down the Reds. As long as they could be controlled by the caller, they were useless. Or were they? Thought of something? Buck must have caught Travis's change of expression. Suppose a Tatar saw our ship and then was picked up by a Red hunting patrol, and they got the information out of him. Do you think any outlaw would volunteer to let himself be picked up again? And if he did, wouldn't the Reds also be able to learn that he had been set up for the trap? "An escaped prisoner," Travis suggested. Now Buck was plainly considering the possibilities of such a scheme, and Travis's own spirits rose a little. The idea was full of holes, but it could be worked out. Suppose they capture, say, Menlik, bring him here as a prisoner, let him think they were about to kill him because of that attack back in the foothills. Then let him escape, pursue him northward to a point where he could be driven into the hands of the Reds. Very chancy, but it just might work. Travis was favoring a gamble now, since his desperate one with the duel had paid off. The risk he had accepted then had cost him two deep wounds, one of which might have been serious if Jill Lee's project-sponsored medical training had not been to hand. But it had also made Travis one of the clan again, with his people willing to listen to his warning concerning the tower treasury. The girl, the Tatar girl. At first Travis did not understand Buck's ejaculation. "We get the girl," the other elaborated. "Let her escape, then hunt her to where they'll pick her up. Might even imprison her in the ship to begin with. Kaydessa?" Though something within him rebelled at that selection for the leading role in their drama, Travis could see the advantage of Buck's choice. Woman stealing was an ancient pastime among primitive cultures. The Tatars themselves had found wives that way in the past, just as the Apache raiders of old had taken captive women into their wickiups. Yes, for raiders to steal a woman would be a natural act, accepted as such by the Reds. For the same woman to endeavor to escape and be hunted by her captors also was reasonable. And for such a woman, cut off from her outlaw kin, to eventually head back toward the Red settlement as the only hope of evading her enemies, logical all the way. She would have to be well frightened, Travis observed with reluctance. That can be done for us. Travis glanced at Buck with sharp annoyance. He would not allow certain games out of their common past to be played with Kaydessa. But Buck had something very different from old-time brutality in mind. 3 days ago, while you were still flat on your back, Deklay and I went back to the ship. Deklay? You beat him openly, so he must restore his honor in his own sight. And the Council has forbidden another duel or challenge, Buck replied. Therefore he will continue to push for recognition in another way. And now that he has heard your story and knows we must face the Reds, not run from them, he is eager to take the war trail. Too eager. So we return to the ship to make another search for weapons. There were none there before except those we had. Nor now either. But we discovered something else. Buck paused, and Travis was shaken out of his absorption with the problem at hand by a note in the other's voice. It was as if Buck had come upon something he could not summon the right words to describe. First, Buck continued, there was this dead thing, there near where we found Dr. Ruthven. It was something like a man, but all silvery hair. The ape things. The ape things from the other worlds. What else did you see? Travis had dropped the map. His side gave him a painful twinge as he caught at Buck's sleeve. The ball space rovers. Did they still exist here somewhere? Had they come to explore the ship built on the pattern of their own, but manned by Terrans? Nothing except tracks, a lot of them, in every open cabin and hole. I think there must have been a sizable pack of the things. What killed the dead one? Buck wet his lips. I think fear. His voice dropped a little, almost apologetically, and Travis stared. The ship is changed. Inside there is something wrong. When you walk the corridors, your skin crawls. You think there is something behind you. You hear things, see things from the corners of your eyes. When you turn, there's nothing, nothing at all. And the higher you climb into the ship, the worse it is. I tell you, Travis, never have I felt anything like it before. It was a ship of many dead, Travis reminded him. Had the age-old Apache fear of the dead been activated by the Redax into an acute phobia to strike down such a level-headed man as Buck? No, at first that too was my thought. Then I discovered that it was worse not near that chamber where we lay our dead, but higher in the Redax cabin. I think perhaps the machine is still running, but running in a wrong way, so that it does not awaken old memories of our ancestors now, but brings into being all the fears which have ever haunted us through the dark of the ages. I tell you, Travis, when I came out of that place, Deklay was leading me by the hand as if I were a child, and he was shivering as a man who will never be warm again. There is an evil there beyond our understanding. I think that this Tatar girl, were she only to stay there a very short time, would be well frightened. So frightened that any trained scientist examining her later would know there was a mystery to be explored. The ape things? Could they have tried to run the Redax? Travis wondered. To associate machines with the creatures was outwardly pure folly, but they had been discovered on 2 of the planets of the old civilization, and Aish thought